my god!
Well done, buddy.
All right.
For this episode of Builders and Bikes, I'd head down to Deus Ex Machina, located in Venice, Los Angeles. There, hidden around the back of the store, is one man with a small workshop and that produces custom motorcycle masterpieces. So before he heads off to Pikes Peak to race in the exhibition class on a 200 horsepower crazy machine that he built himself, I headed down for a chat about the build and then of course, ride it. So we're here down at Deus Ex Machina in Venice, Los Angeles, and the man behind all of these amazing custom builds is Woolie. He makes old school designs with modern parts. Can you tell me a little bit about your background?
As a kid, we moved to Tiburon, California when I was a kid. Mert Lawwell lived right down the street. He had a motocross track in the hills above our house. So I just grew up in motorcycle mecca. Once I started racing bikes, they didn't work very well. Even into the early 80s, the bikes were fairly,
fairly basic.
So I learned how to make stuff, and that's what's interesting to me. When I look at MotoGP, I'm interested in like Gigi Gallegna, and people like that. Those are my heroes. The motors are usually suit the person's ability and how he's going to use the bike.
Yes.
That's where we start. How are you going to ride it?
So a bike that you have been building for yourself, because you usually build a lot of bikes for other people.
Right.
Is this incredible Pikes Peak machine. What made you want to go to Pikes Peak?
I've always wanted to go. In fact, I was going to go in 2008 and broke my hip. I just want to experience it. I know you've done it.
One of the most fantastic events.
I entered the exhibition class, so it opened up the possibilities of what I could do. Started with the hypermotard, and what's left of that hypermotard is the frame, the engine cases, and the swinger.
And what's inside those engine cases is something quite special.
Yeah,
we
stuffed basically one of Carlos Checa's old motors in there.
Wow.
A21, 90
so
horsepower. It's an 1198.
An 1198,
yeah. And it's making about 200 horsepower, and it weighs 344 pounds flat. Maybe a little less now because I've been trimming here and there where I can, a little titanium bolt here and there. And I took a little aluminum off the gas cap today, quarter inch more, It's wicked. First of all, it just has a lot of power.
Yeah.
The front end is just in the air the whole time. To some degree. And so it sort of skips around and it's loose. And it spins and leaves black lines everywhere it goes.
Brilliant. It looks fantastic, but it's intimidating. What do you call this anyway? It's beyond a supermoto now. It's
just a race bike. It's built for Pikes Peak. My idea of how I wanted to approach the mountain was sort of, I'm not going to say total point and shoot because the bottom section's flowy, so the bike needs to do that. Mm-hmm. But where I'm thinking it's going to do well is out of the hairpins and accelerated from hairpin to hairpin.
Yes. And how does it stop?
Incredibly well. It has 48 mil fork tubes.
So you're gonna let me ride it around the block?
Yeah, you could go for it. We'll look at right and left for cops, and then.
I don't know why he's gonna let me ride it, but anyway, we're gonna take this around the block before he takes it up to Pikes Peak. As Woolie's prized possession was heading to Pikes Peak in a matter of days, I was only allowed around the block, as the last thing he needed was for this bike to get damaged or impounded. But it didn't matter. I wanted to go, as this bike is incredible. Oh wow, the noise is ferocious, and I'm barely touching the throttle. With 200 horsepower, this is going to be one fast lap around the block. But here goes. Like riding a raging bull, a total handful to manage as the acceleration is so fast and intense. Touch the brakes and it stops just as extreme, leaving your mind barely able to keep up. It's a wild ride in every way, and I think you have to be slightly mad to build something as potent as this, let alone race it up a mountain. The quick ride around the block had left me shaking from both excitement and nerves. Well done, Woolie. That was insane.
That thing is crazy. I'd just ridden Max's Supermoto, which is the most mental bike I've ever ridden until this. So well done, buddy. My goodness, it was exciting. It's instant power. It starts to go, but then there's a second surge that just makes the front wheel just paw. We've added quite a bit of rebound just to keep, because it was just bouncing off the top valve spring all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
and it just
always
felt like
coming
clunky.
Yeah,
It's a little tall.
I was surprised at that.
Well, I have a knee replacement.
Yeah.
It's a little bit lower. It's an
Yeah.
inch lower than the standard bike. I tend to get off a little bit more. Like I'm, instead of one butt cheek, it's both butt cheeks. Yeah. And that's what this is for. You know, not only to keep you on the bike, but to keep, because I often felt like I was going to fall off the bike.
I mean, if you could make this street legal, it'd be, I mean, there's no reason why not, right?
It's got a title, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the plan. After the race, I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to sell it, you know.
Well, before you do, let's go and do a track day.
Okay.
Well, Pikes Peak is an amazing event. Doing it on this bike is going to make it super special.
Yeah,
so.
I hope so.
Well
Yeah,
done.
I'm hoping for the best.
What are you aiming for Pikes Peak? What's your...
Oh, I'd like to win my class. I think there's some competition, but you know, I mean, the goal in the end is to go have a good time,
Yeah.
and to come back here with a great experience. So I'm not going to do anything stupid. It's a lot of work. I'm going to go and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to try. I've worked harder than anybody this year, maybe not, but in my mind,
Yeah, and
the project and
yeah,
build
exactly.
something good. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Well, yeah, you bet, man. Glad you made it back to the shop.
Do you hear any police?
I did hear police, actually. Yeah. That's why the door's closed.
Okay, a few back roads. Make sure if the cops chase
Yeah.
me, we can get back here. So great that you've been kicked off Chuck Waller recently.
I got kicked out of Chuck Ball. It was a fair pass. It just seemed aggressive from where they were standing. You know.
Well, a bike like this, it'd be
Yeah.
amazing from trackside.